Hello Privyet everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Inside Out Cooking. Today, we have a very traditional Eastern European dish to share with you all. It is Ukrainian Borsh, served alongside a garlic bun called Pampushka. It is a traditional yet very delicious and simple recipe that my wife has brought into my life, and she makes it for me every now and again, and it's absolutely wonderful, and we're very happy to share it with you all. Now, for this dish, we will be starting with the pampushkas, but before that, let's check our fridge and go shopping for whatever we need. Alright, so for the pampushka, which will make around 10 buns, we'll need 1 cup of milk or water, 3 cups all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons veg oil, and 1 tablespoon sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of yeast. Here is the spread of all the ingredients we'll be using, and as you can see, we already have activated our yeast with warm water and sugar. But in a large bowl, we will be adding all of our dry ingredients, so the flour, the sugar, the salt, followed by our wet ingredients, being our oil, our milk, and our yeast. So everything is in the bowl. We will simply be giving it a good stir with a spoon until it is incorporated into a very loose dough, and then we will be flouring our hands liberally and getting right on in there to knead it. And when I say liberally, I mean liberally. Otherwise, it's going to stick, as it is a very, very sticky dough. But you're simply looking to knead it until it has become smooth and mostly devoid of any cracks or crinkles. You will also let stand for 15 to 20 minutes after it's gotten to a good point. Then we will simply be oiling up a parchment sheet lined baking tray and using our hand to spread the oil evenly alongside the paper. Then we will be separating our dough into the balls that will form our pampushkas. We do 10, but really, depending on the size of your balls, they could be a little less or a little more. But line our tray with your sectioned off pieces of dough, like such. Then we will be covering and letting stand further for another 20 to 30 minutes. Now we'll set this aside and start working on our borscht. The soup base of the borscht will be 3.5 liters of water, 1 kilogram of meat, chicken or pork is what we used, and 1 onion. So water goes into the pot, throw it on the stove, and simply add your raw meat directly into the pot. And then bring that up to a good simmer. Be sure to skim the fat as the heat of the pot rises, and throw it away. Then simply halve and peel an onion. And then add it to your pot. Now we're going to let this go for around 1 to 1.5 hours. You could also do it longer. More time equals more flavor. For the borscht base, we will need 1 to 1.5 beets, 2 carrots, 1 onion, and 1.5 tablespoons of oil, a splash of lemon juice or citric acid, and 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Additionally, we will want 300 grams of cabbage, 2 to 3 baked potatoes, 2 bay leaves, and 3 cloves, 3 crushed black peppercorns, 4 to 5 garlic cloves, and sour cream for garnish. Now we'll start peeling our vegetables, starting with our potato, followed by our carrot, and then our onion. We'll remove the end of our onion and simply give this a good small dice. You want it to be relatively fine, but not like a minuscule kind of mince. So after you're done dicing, if it's not to your desired length, just run it through with your knife a little bit. Moving on to your carrot, you will carefully grate your carrot, cutting it up to make it easier to handle. And then for our potatoes, we will be squaring them off and simply cutting them into small to medium-sized chunks. Now, turning our attention back towards our pot of stock, we will be tossing our onion and then reserving the meat for later until it's nice and cool. There's good stuff in this bowl now. We'll be left with a very simple chicken stock, which we will then be adding our potatoes to start the cooking process. Back to our cutting board, we will be cutting our cabbage into thin slices. Set it aside for later. Next, to prepare our beets, since we'll have the time, we will be peeling them. And then grating them, same as the carrot. Again, be careful. To a hot pan, we will be adding our oil, followed by the carrots and the onions. Our goal here isn't to get a lot of color on these, we simply want to sweat them out. Release a little bit of those juices and help break them down. We want them to reach a translucent-like look. Give it a little toss for some flair, and then add your cabbage to your pot. When these are to the look that you want, add your beets to them and incorporate them evenly. Remember, be sure the heat's not too high. Here we'll be adding our citric acid or lemon juice, and that simply keeps these colors of the beets very vibrant, and it makes them really come alive in the soup. Here we make a well with our vegetables, and in the center of this well we add our tomato paste, which we simply want to warm through and incorporate evenly throughout our vegetable mixture. That removes that earthy bitterness to the tomato paste. Now we'll simply want to add it to our pot before adding our bay leaves and whole cloves. You can use a spice bag as it makes taking them out a lot easier. Simply add your crushed black peppercorns. And then take your garlic, give it a good crush with the garlic press or mince it by hand, and simply add it raw to the pot. Give it a good stir and then season to taste. Turning our attention to our now hopefully cooled meat, we will be separating the meat from our bones and then discarding the bones. Honestly, for me, my favorite part of making the dish. Second only to this next part, which is having it all on your board and running your knife through it, just so there's no pieces that are too big. Something about this is very, very satisfying. But you'll simply be adding it back to our pot to rewarm and adding that nice meaty quality we all love. Soup is more or less done. Just simmer it for an additional 10 to 15 minutes and turn our attention back towards the Pampushka, which we will be adding to the 180 degrees Celsius for 10 to 15 minutes or until they're nice and golden. You can do this concurrently alongside the making of your borscht if you just time it well with finishing your soup. Next, we will take some minced garlic, maybe 2 to 3 cloves, depending on how much you want, and adding some vegetable or sunflower oil to it, and giving it a good mix before seasoning to taste, making a very simple garlic oil, which we will then use to top our finished pampushkas with, giving them that delicious garlicky taste. But there you have it. That is the finished dish and the accompanying bun. We garnish our borscht with sour cream, and you can also use some chopped parsley or green onion. But that's it. Traditional Ukrainian borscht served alongside pampushkas. Absolutely delicious. Be sure to be ripping into your pampushka and dipping it into your borscht for that added extra delicious taste. Priятного аппетита. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers and stay safe, everybody.